The following marketing information and discussion is provided for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as professional guidance or consultancy. You should find an agency for that. Comexis is a digital marketing agency, so feel free to hire us. But otherwise, just enjoy the show.
Hello everyone, welcome to The Buyer's Journey by Comexis, a discussion-based podcast on the ever-changing marketing landscape that affects how your customers and clients purchase, ultimately optimizing your marketing efforts. I am Matthew McGordy, the social media content producer here at Comexis.
I am Len Ward, the managing partner at Comexis.
And I am Josh Lyons, the digital marketing coordinator here at Comexis.
So today we are talking about the consideration stage of the buyer's journey. All this week we've been going through the different stages of the buyer's journey, and we will be going through the different stages of the buyer's journey in the coming days as well. So last episode we talked about the awareness stage, where somebody becomes aware of a need or problem that they have, and they begin sort of realizing that, oh no, they might have to buy something. So now we are in the consideration stage, where we are going to be having our potential clients and customers begin researching some things and looking into stuff. So Len, can you give me a general overview of what the consideration stage is?
Consideration stage is when somebody is at the point where they know they have a problem or they're looking to solve an issue and they're researching for a product or service. The research can be anywhere online. It could be maybe going to a store, but it's normally the most important phase of the buyer's journey. I understand people may say no, the purchase, because that's where they're making the purchase. But in our mentalities, if you're doing the consideration stage right, your purchase stage almost kind of falls hand in hand with it. So that's the consideration stage.
And part of that research process, I just want to mention, isn't just going on their website necessarily and reading the specs, though that is obviously key, because how else would you know what you might want to buy, right?
Doing Google searches on reviews about the company, it's Google searches about specs of the company, or if they have maybe they're looking for a copier, they're looking for reviews, they're looking what can the copier do, and then they're comparing it to another copier. Yeah, there's an enormous amount of research people will do in the consideration stage, a lot deeper than I think a lot of companies think.
Yeah, I think a lot of companies think it's just, oh, if I put the information on my website and I get a couple good reviews or something like that,
and
it's
a call
enough.
to action here, I'm going to make millions. No, you're not.
But it's not just that. It's a lot of
pay-per-click campaign.
Thank you.
SEO campaign. So why don't we say what falls in there?
Yeah.
So in the consideration stage, the awareness stage was more focused on, that's an awareness that's almost like your old school TV ads, your Mad Men days, and the ads are showing on the platforms that people are at. Consideration stage is where you're moving into the hardcore digital marketing. That's search engine optimization, and I'll touch on that in a second. That's pay-per-click ads. That is making sure you're retargeting across all social media platforms. You're retargeting on Google Display as well as YouTube. This is what gets interesting, because this is where SEO really matters. And SEO, a lot of people I want to rank for Philadelphia bankruptcy attorney. That's not what you want to rank for. Actually, believe it or not, 43% of the converting keywords that are searched for SEO are 4 to 5 words or more. So you want to try to identify SEO keywords that help people along the consideration stage and how they would be looking at your product or looking for your product or looking for a product similar to your product. It's also for pay-per-click. You can also take those same keywords that you're optimizing on SEO and put that up on the pay-per-click. So there is a way in which you can, make sure that you are in front of the buyer in the consideration phase, and pay-per-click and SEO are the two leading ways to do that right now.
And there's some other smaller things. For example, I mentioned reviews, but that can also, somebody could get a recommendation from their friend in the consideration phase, which can lead into purchase. We'll get to that in advocacy later as well. You also have, somebody could watch an influencer and see what their opinion is on. So for example, camera gear. I like camera gear. I might watch a video about a piece of equipment that I'm going to buy, or
so
something like that.
So you did your research on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
And the last thing would be, which we didn't mention, is that you may along the lines in the awareness campaign signed up for an email newsletter. Mm-hmm. So email is also going to play in it. So it's SEO, it's pay-per-click, And by search engine optimization, I should include, to me when I say search engine optimization, that's YouTube as well, because that's a search engine. Mm-hmm. So people just assume, oh, well, that's Google. No, that's across all search engines. And email marketing, which is people think it's a dinosaur, but still a very, very important aspect of the consideration stage, so long as you've obtained that email address from the customer in the awareness stage.
And a lot about that is, making sure that the customer is able to sort of understand the trustworthiness of your brand, the quality, other factors and things that come into play. And then there's also, just before the end of the consideration stage, once your brand, for example, has been chosen for the product or service, what the easiest way to get that is in terms of shipping costs if it's a product and things like that. So for example, like Amazon, it's the difference between somebody maybe buying on Amazon and maybe having free shipping, free Prime shipping, or buying, say, from Target and deciding, oh, I'm going to pick it up on my way home from work or something like that. So that's also something just to keep in mind. So just like last episode, we have a nice little audience profile of somebody who is in the consideration phase. So Josh, why don't you go ahead and read this quite lengthy profile I wrote for you, my friend.
All right, so Jenna is a 24-year-old who's about to move into her first apartment in Philadelphia. Because she's moving out of her parents' house soon, she's in need of a vacuum to keep her new place tidy. Last episode, we explained how Jenna became aware of her need for a vacuum and how she became aware of the Bison vacuum brand by seeing various ads on her social media. Now, Jenna wants to learn more about the Bison vacuums, so she decides to Google Bison vacuums. At the top of the search page, she sees a Google AdWords ad for Bison. She clicks it and then is led to a landing page with information about the various vacuums Bison provides. She reads each vacuum's specifics and finds a new model that she's interested in. Jenna likes what she sees, but she still wants more info. First, she posts a tweet on Twitter asking for vacuum recommendations. While she's waiting for responses on Twitter, Jenna goes on YouTube and searches for reviews of the vacuum she's interested in. She finds a variety of influencers offering the reviews of different models and watches each video attentively. This helps narrow down her decision for which vacuum she would like. Jenna then clicks on each vacuum on Amazon for pricing and reviews. The different reviews help her narrow down her choices to 2 models. Then, Jenna goes back to Twitter, and her friend Kevin, from our first episode, has tweeted back how amazing the Bison vacuum he got was. Lo and behold, that was the one of the 2 models that she was looking at. She was satisfied, and she knew she was making a good decision, so Jenna decides to try and find the best price for that vacuum. So, Jenna checks Walmart, Target, Amazon, and even Bison's own website to compare those prices. Finally, she decides her Amazon Prime free 2-day shipping is the best deal, and she goes to that one to place her order. Now, Jenna is entering the purchase phase.
So that chronicled, obviously, I don't know how many people are writing influencer reviews and YouTube videos about vacuums.
You'd be surprised.
But, well, yeah,
There's a review for everything.
Eat my words all of a sudden now that I think about it for a couple seconds. But that's albeit probably an extreme example of somebody going through the consideration stage. But to say the least, I would say, I mean, and this is just off the top of my head, I don't have data, which maybe Len does, but I'm not sure. Those were probably 6, 7 different things that occurred. Somebody might only need 3 to ultimately make their decision, but having all 7 make sure that you're hitting either somebody who's going to go through all 7 or somebody who's only going through 4 of those 7.
You're right. I mean, I actually like the way this is laid out. This is very similar to how somebody would purchase something, regarding like a vacuum for their home. And there's other components to this, and we're not going to just overwhelm everybody on the podcast. And as this grows, we can talk about it. But there's supporting ways when Jenna's when she steps away from Amazon, when she steps away from YouTube, where, we can go in and there's supporting things you can do, in regards to marketing them. So there would be retargeting ads on Facebook, even YouTube. If we find out that she's typing in for Bison vacuum cleaners, we actually would have a Bison ad running in front of the influencer that she's looking at. So there's a way Bison can constantly stay in there in regard to the consideration phase, and that's a very important part of it. But what Josh laid out here, if you're starting to look at it this way, you're now thinking differently than where am I ranking? What is my pay-per-click doing? So this is kind of the conversation we're trying to get people to understand. Like, this is how you want to start looking at marketing, and this is how you should enter your conversation with your marketing team, your agency, whatever, and not, I got to get more pay-per-clicks and I got to get better rankings for X, Y, Z. So it's a really good way, and hopefully, if you have listened to 2 podcasts, this is beginning to turn the wheels a little bit in regards to marketing.
So now we have our article for the day, which is focused on the consideration phase, and in particular about customer reviews. So customer reviews, as we'll talk about later this week, fit into the advocacy stage because obviously people are leaving these reviews, but they fit into the consideration stage as well because people are looking for these reviews to build trustworthiness and confidence in whatever brand that or product that they are going to be or service that they're going to be purchasing. So our article today comes from Anthony Ha on TechCrunch. It talks about Trustpilot revealing more data about how businesses flag reviews. The essence of this article is that Trustpilot which is a review platform for different products and services and things like that. They were having a problem about businesses incorrectly and fraudulently using their review flagging tool. This was a very small number of businesses doing this. So basically, if a review is posted about this company, the business is able to respond in a couple different ways, but if they believe that it is being done in bad faith or there's something fraudulent or bawdy about it or something like that, they can flag it and see if it gets removed. Many review sites have things like this. Amazon has it, Google has it for their reviews as well, but it is something that Trustpilot was noticing people were abusing. So here's Anthony Ha spoke to founder and CEO Peter Mulhan sort of about this, and their solution to this was a new transparent flagging feature. So here's a quote. Trustpilot visitors can actually see how many reviews a company flagged starting on January 1st of this year and what the ultimate outcome was. That way, if you're wondering if you're only seeing positive reviews because a business challenged all the negative ones, you can find out for yourself by clicking on the activities button in a business profile. And this idea, I think, is super interesting in that you basically get to see if the business is trying to lie about their service. Yeah. So, I mean, what do you guys, just off of that, what do you guys think?
I understand what this article's saying, I get it. And I think one of the biggest problems that's going on right now is that there's a lot of great review platforms where companies can harvest the reviews and can either stop the reviews from coming in, like a negative review, or here they're flagging the reviews down, right? So that's a major, major problem in regards to reviews. And I think this is something where the eye of Google has really been eyeballing this, and there's a very big buzz in the SEO community, if you want to call it that Google is somehow, some way looking to drop a smackdown on companies who are harvesting all these reviews, and every single review is 5 stars, and yet there's no negative reviews. Scars are good looking. Having faults is okay. As a business, you can't everything is not Disneyland. You were to go to Disney World and go look behind the scenes, you'd be amazed at what you see. It looks nothing like it is on the outside. People like to see a human aspect of things. And I think during the consideration phase, people want to go down and look at it. And it's funny to read negative reviews because some people just like to complain and say, okay, well, maybe that's not good for Jenny, but that doesn't affect me, so I don't look at that as a negative review. And I tell people all the time, one of the most important things as a company can do is actually address a negative review in a right way. Hey, give us a call. You didn't like the product, ship it back to us. Or give our customer service a call so we can work through this problem with you. I'm of the belief that while reviews are extremely, extremely important, it's almost going to get to the point where people are only going to trust reviews that came from friends, families, and colleagues, and that's all they're going to look at going forward. So I don't know if that really adds on what we're saying here in regards to this article, but it's an issue that's out there right now, and it's a problem.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. And I love that you brought up the idea that for businesses, you can respond to negative reviews, and a lot of the times that will be more powerful than if you just left it there or got it flagged. I think what Trustpilot is doing is genius in that they're saying, if you are going to abuse this system, people are going to know you're going to abuse this system.
I think it's great.
So now they will trust you less, right? But I think you summed it up excellently. Respond to negative comments and negative reviews when you can, because at the end of the day, people are going to read them, and if they see a nice response or they see the problem getting solved in some way, at minimum, it means that you as your brand and your company care enough to at least try and make it right, even if there's not necessarily anything you can directly do, right? Obviously, if somebody's leaving a hateful comment just because they're being mean, not much you can do, but
you can literally put up, have a nice day. You're never going to keep everybody happy, but engaging in negative rhetoric back and forth is going to do damage on damage you cannot get back from. So again, respond to it in a professional manner in the best way. And you should have the mentality the customer is always right. Sometimes you understand customers, it could be there's really nothing we can do. And don't be afraid to say that. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, we've done all we can here. We've reached out to you. I'm very sorry you're upset, but there's nothing else we can do. We do hope you find another location that can provide the service you're looking for. And walk away.
Right, and also when you think about it is when you do have a negative review, not only does that help for you to respond and to sort of show feedback, but also when you look at it as for your company, you can now learn from why people aren't liking your brand, or maybe there was like a small little bump down the road that gave them problems that it can help you, that basically can just help you smooth the process for future leads and future clients in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a critical part of the consideration stage. And a lot of times if we go through and if we're looking at clients, one of the things we will look for, I tell people right when they're in a consideration stage, what they do is they'll do your product or your company reviews, your product, your company complaints, your product, your company lawsuits. If for some reason we have a bucket of people in a consideration stage and we are never able to move them over to the purchase stage, meaning nobody's ever going to the purchase page at all or nobody's contacting you, inherently one of the very first things we're going to look for is what is the reputation online, what do they look for? And 9 out of 10 times, we're not only seeing bad reviews, we're seeing companies interact in a negative fashion. So critical component. Again, reviews are very critical. Make it organic, make it natural, make it good, don't force it. And you'll be happy at what would come of it.
Absolutely. Listen, folks, you're not all the Wendy's Twitter, all right? You can't clap back too hard. That's all for today's episode of The Buyer's Journey. Check us out tomorrow for more on the purchase stage and for the rest of the week, for the rest of the stages of The Buyer's Journey. And hey, you know what? If you haven't listened to our other episodes from this week, please do. They're all about the buyer's journey and the different steps that you will be going through and your potential customers will be going through. So please check them out. You can check us out on Comexis.com, YouTube, anywhere that you can get your podcasts. And please follow us on Twitter at buyers_journey. Thanks for listening, everybody.